Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hussain Qazi here. Today's FM Practice to Pass March 20 session and today's day 3. Assalamu alaikum everyone once again. I hope all of you are doing good and we are now moving for the day 3 aspects. I hope that you people have got a valuable sessions till now to get a great idea about the direction for the preparation of the FM, and our journey moves on from investment appraisal, then sources of finance, including WAC, and today we will discuss further part of the sources of finance, that is equity, debts, although starting with the remaining portion of the WAC element, then capital structure, then source of finance, debt, equity, and move towards the business valuation. Candidates, can you please reply me that you are hearing my voice clearly? Can you please reply me that you are hearing my voice clearly? That's very good. That's really very good. And I hope that you have already completed the assignment related to the WAC. Let's move, or let's continue the aspect with the last question that is related to the WAC, and that we were discussing about the capitalist. We were discussing about the WAC with the CAPM. Yesterday, the last hour, that was about the WAC with valuation method, WAC with CAPM. And continue with that, CAPM, that I've already discussed. If a company wants to move for the investment, so for the sake of determining the discount rate, the company must have to consider that what element of risk the investment have. If the risk continues as compared to parallel with the company's own business, that's called expansion, then use the same WAC, then use the same beta equity, then use the same KE. But on the other hand, if the company moves towards the diversification, so that means same discount rate cannot be used, same KE cannot be used, same beta equity cannot be used. So that is what about the question. That's the fence. And I've already told you that this question reflecting not only the calculation but also the theory. Make it a quick working of this question. The equity beta of the fence company is 0.9, and the company has issued 10 million ordinary shares. The market value of each ordinary share is 7.5. The company is also financed 7% bonds, nominal value $100, which will be redeemed in 7 years' time at nominal value. Bonds have a total nominal value of 14 million. Interest on bonds are just paid. Current market value of each bond 107.14. Furthermore, fence company plans to invest in a project but different to existing business operation, and I'll identify the company in the same business area. The project HEX, that is the proxy company. The equity beta of HEX 1.2. Do you remember that we don't have any concern about the HEX except the beta asset determination based on the working of the beta equity. The company has an equity market value 54 million, market value of debt 12 million. Risk-free rate of return 4%, 11% is the stock market return. Both companies pay the corporation tax rate 20%. Calculate the WACC of fence and calculate the cost of equity used in appraising the new project. Actual consent point is this. Calculate the cost of equity which could be used in appraising the new project. So first of all, if we consider that, what is the existing WACC of fence? Now WACC means it's not about change in business operations. It's not about change in business operations. So company can use for the workout to calculate the KE, calculate the KD, calculate the E, calculate the D. If we calculate the market value of equity, that's very simple. That means the company has 10 million shares, 7.5 each value of shares. It's mentioned on the question, that's 7.5. And the answer is 75 million. With respect to the debts, that is 14 million. Debts divided by 100, multiplied by 107.14, and that's equals to almost 14 divided by 100 into 107.14. 14.996 say 15 million. So the company's total capital structure become 90 million. Company's total capital structure 90 million. What about the KE? If the data available for the CAPM, it's very simple. Risk-free rate, risk premium, sorry, stock market return, and existing beta equity 0.9. So working with KE, RM minus RF into existing, and the RF here, that is 4%, RM 11 minus 4% into beta equity existing, that is 0.9, and that's about 10.3%. Candidates, we have already done with the KD aspect yesterday, and I have already told you that there is only one method to calculate the KD, that is the valuation method. Here we need to identify by valuation method how to calculate the cost of debts. In the exam question, you have to consider first thing, candidates have to consider first thing, marketable, non-marketable. Bonds is marketable. Marketable, redeemable or irredeemable. So here redeemable. So here the working with KD by IRR. For the sake of safety of time, I am putting the direct figure of the KD. You can calculate easily. That we have already done yesterday's session. With the market value of debts 107.14, interest redemption. So that's K. If I put KD 1 minus T direct, that is 4.4%. I hope that you have no concern that how to calculate, because we have already done. Because next points are very much important. So WACC now Now means if the company wants to continue own business with the investment, then the company use this beta equity, beta working. And how to calculate it? It's very simple. KE 10.3% multiply by 75 over 90, KD 1 minus T 4.4% into 15 divided by 90, and the answer become 9.3%. Candidates, this is what the existing situation. If we elaborate the answer more, candidates, listen here. That's very interesting. If we need to elaborate more, so now the company's WACC. Now I am discussing that part of aspect which may impact to the MCQs and theory as well. Now 9.3%. Now KE, what is KE now? What is KE? 10.3%. Now beta equity 0.9. Candidates, till now I haven't discussed anything about the diversification, the proxy. Till now I'm just doing the existing WACC, the existing element. If it's not part of the question. If I say to you that, can you calculate the beta asset with now situation? Can you calculate and reply me accordingly? Can you calculate the beta asset with the now situation? Yes, with this formula. Beta asset now. Whatever the industry now, we don't know, but we can calculate. Beta asset is equal to beta equity multiply by E upon E plus D 1 minus tax rate in this question, that is 0.2. Yes, please reply me, candidates, reply me. Reply me, what's the answer? Are you hearing me? Be participative. That's good. Fahad Makfoor, brilliant. That is 0.78. Candidates, if examiner asks you or twists you with the now situation, you can calculate the WACC, KE, beta equity, beta asset, this one. Number one. Yes, although this is not the part of question, I'm just discussing with you. Number two, A done. B, calculate the KE which could be used in appraising the project, new project. The new project here, that is about diversification. And here ask only KE. Number one, we cannot use this beta equity for diversification because this beta equity has a beta asset of existing industry having different risks, different systematic risk affecting differently to the business operations. So what to do? Here is the case. KE by CAPM, investment in project with different business operations. what first need to do? Need to identify the beta acid, and that is called ungearing proxy company. So we need to identify beta acid. How to calculate beta acid? Beta equity of proxy multiplied by E upon E plus D 1 minus T. So what is proxy data? Where is proxy data? Hat says proxy. Equity beta 1.2. Market value equity 54. And that's 12. 54 and 12. So how to put? That's beta equity 1.2 into 54 divided by 54 plus 12 into 0.8 or 1 minus x. And that is work about 1.019. We don't have any concern about the proxy capital structure, but here to determine the beta asset, we put the figure of proxy company. Second information. Second, now we are fence. Regear asset beta, that is fence. Don't have any concern of the proxy. Incorporating with the same formula, but regearing asset beta. This step called geared to ungeared to geared with the same formula. With the same capital structure. Now 1.019 is equal to beta equity multiplied by the E and D of the fence. This one, 75 and 15. 75, 75, 15, 1 minus x. And here that is beta equity 1.182. I hope all of you people with me. And the third point, KE by CAPM. KE by CAPM, candidates KE by CAPM. That is RF 4% plus 11 minus 4, 1.182. And that's become 12.3%. The question is over here, candidates, but the important point is that, another important, if I say to you that calculate the WACC with diversification, can you calculate the WACC with diversification? Fence, that is fence. That is fence. KE multiplied by E upon E plus D, KD 1 minus x into D upon E plus D. How much KE? In this case, KE 12.3. Number one, candidates listen carefully. If the fence move for diversification, KE change, but capital structure remains same. That is 75 over 90 plus KD after tax 4.4, 15 divided by 90. Yes, calculated. Make it quick. That is 10.98. It's not the question. I'm just discussing you with more details. reflecting the theoretical and the MCQs pattern as well. If examiner asks CAPM diversification, that is 10.98. Now candidates, important point. I want to make an analysis. I want to make an analysis here. Now an diversification. If company diversified, listen here. So WACC should be 10.98. %10.98%. KE 12.3 and beta equity 1.182. And beta asset 1.019. Listen here. If examiner asks you the question like this, now what should be the analysis? Candidates here. That's important. Now it's interesting. If the company wants to expand, now means expand the operations. For example, Fence is a bank. And the bank want to expand the operations, means having 100 branch, moving on to invest for 25 more branches. So what should be the WACC for investment appraisal? That should be 9.3. But if Fence want to diversify in another industry with the available data, so investment should be appraised by 10.98%. Number one. I hope that's clear. But the important point is that if our examiner asks you, WACC has two components. Yes, E and D, K, KD. Why WACC change? You must say one thing. With respect to CAPM, WACC is changing only to the reason of KE. Only to the reason of KE. Because expansion has low WACC because low KE. Diversification high WACC because high KE. This portion reflect the return element, and this portion reflect risk element. WACC parallel, higher the WACC because higher KE. Why WACC and KE as a return is higher? Because risk is higher in the diversification. You can match here. Higher the risk, higher the return, lower the risk, lower the return. In case of diversification, 1.182 beta equity, but expansion 0.9 beta equity. Why beta equity in diversification is higher? Beta equity having two components. Answer me, which two components having beta equity? Which two risk having beta equity? Number one, financial risk. Number two, systematic risk. Diversification and now expansion having different beta equity because of what? Because of beta asset. I just done drilling. I just done drilling. Why WACC is different in why WACC is higher in diversification as compared to expansion? Because of KE. Why KE is higher in diversification as compared to expansion? Because of beta equity. Why beta equity with diversification is higher as compared to expansion? Because not because of financial risk, but because of systematic risk. I hope you have done with it and now become perfect. Examiner asks anything about it, you can reply accordingly. You got it? You got it? That's good. Candidates, if examiner asks you all the thing, in a theoretical manner, all the above, for all above, you can explain in this guideline. Like this is a question. Discuss how CAPM can be used to calculate project specific back. And your discussion, examiner here mentioning refer the concept of systematic risk, business risk, financial risk. So what we have done in previous case, what we are discussing here, systematic risk, business risk, financial risk. Whenever examiner asks, listen carefully, examiner asking something that's like here CAPM with a specific project and your discussion includes systematic business and financial risk. It doesn't mean only to explain systematic business and financial risk. No, but have to cover the complete topic with these terms. First, start CAPM. What is CAPM? For example, it's an 8-mark question. CAPM, what is CAPM? Means CAPM, using CAPM, we calculate the returns considering the risk. So first refer CAPM connecting with the portfolio. Then move on with returns. Then explain using the CAPM for expansion and diversification. And all the above discussion I have done above, use the English structure. So you just read it. After the session, you can get the good idea. But if ask yourself, you must stand in front of mirror and you must stand in front of mirror and ask yourself, am I comfortable with calculation? Your answer will be yes. And ask yourself, second question, am I more comfortable with theory? If nothing reply from your inner, then you have to practice more about the theory. Don't fear about the theory. Let's start with this. And you have to read these 2 articles, part 1, part 2. Now, candidates, it's time for the another topic of the business finance, that is capital structure. Now it's about the another topic that's about the capital structure. Number 1, capital structure. What is that topic about? Capital structure theory. What is the topic about? What is the meaning of the capital structure theory? Candidates, the meaning is that you know very well, listen carefully here. Number 1, finance. That is debts and equity. And finance, then invest. Invest means using of finance. Candidates, one important thing I'm going to ask you. For example, you are a car driver. You have purchased the car, means for the purpose of earning, you have purchased the car and drive the car with the Uber. You are a taxi driver. You own the car. Let's suppose. I am not talking about. Listen carefully. I'm not talking about that. You are a driver and you use the car for your home purpose. No. First, make up the mind. We are here to discuss about business. We are not here to discuss about household things. So number 1, you purchase the car for what purpose? For business purpose. You purchase the car for business purpose. You are a taxi driver. You purchase the car and you wanted to evaluate your own efficiency, how well you utilize the taxi to earn money. So that means you wanted to evaluate the investment, how well you utilize your taxi to earn the money. I am drilling this example more. I am also a taxi driver. I have also purchased the car. So there are two companies, like two persons or two companies. Company one, you are also the car owner. I am also the car owner. You use the car for the taxi driving. I also use the car taxi in the same community, in the same vicinity. And someone evaluating our efficiency, how well I am utilizing my car, how well you are utilizing your car. Same car, same vicinity, same business operations, taxi. Okay, first thing. Number two, you have purchased the car with 100% equity finance, 100%. But I have purchased the car 50% equity, 50% debts. Mr. Hussain Kazi, and you are Mr. for example Ali, and someone evaluating Ali and Hussain Kazi performance. Ali and Hussain Kazi performance. I have only one question. Answer me for this question. Listen carefully. Is the efficiency of the car utilization of Ali and Hussain is based on from where they arrange the finance? I'm repeating the question. Is this valid to evaluate the efficiency of Ali's and Hussain Kazi utilizing of investment, utilizing of taxi, how well they are utilizing the taxi, how well they are efficiently use the taxi? Is this dependent on from where, from which source they purchase the taxi? Very good, Mubashir. No, never. Do remember one thing: the source of finance, that means the companies, where the companies arrange the finance, is not affecting how utilize the finance. If Mr. Hussain arguing that I haven't performed well because my finance is 50% debt, 50% equity, so this is not the justified reason of Mr. Hussain, because efficiency of driving the taxi and earn the money, it's not effective, not affected from where the Hussain Qazi Sahab arrange the finance. So same case for Mr. Ali. If Ali arrange the finance 100% from the equity, it will not affect to the utilization of finance. So candidates, in simple words, from where we arrange the source of finance, not affecting to the investment of the finance. In simple words, any paper money haven't mentioned that either it's debt or either it's equity. Whenever we spend the money, whenever we utilizing the money is business, it doesn't matter from where we arrange the finance. So candidates, actually, what is the topic about? Topic about WAC relationship, relationship of Capital structure matlab means debt over equity with WACC. Capital structure with WACC, capital structure with business valuation. For the time being, you will consider that business valuation means how well utilizing the finance. Value of business is based on using of finance, but value of business not dependent on capital structure. So relationship between capital structure, WACC and business valuation. That's three relationship: capital structure, WACC and business valuation. Capital structure, WACC, business valuation. That is the topic about capital structure theory. Capital structure, value, relationship between capital structure, WACC and value of business. Number one, before starting this topic, before entering this topic, what is this topic about? You have to consider 5 points very importantly. Theoretical aspect as well. Candidates, are you getting a point what I'm saying? This is the theoretical point that's very much important for the examination. And if you people really feel that these lectures are valuable, so spread your words to the audience to watch this video and get the right direction, because this theoretical aspect reflect to the examination. That's very much important. You have a responsibility at least to spread this word, spread this videos as much as possible, because thanks to ACC to arrange this matter and told me that focus on that particular point, which is the core aspect related to the students and why the students got failed. That is the key point. Student never failed about the calculation of the present value matters. Student failed due to these reasons. So spread these words. You have a responsibility to at least spread as much as possible. Okay, now relationship between capital structure, WACC, value of business. So before starting this topic, you have to know these 5 things. Number one, capital structure of business finance by debt and equity ratio. Means capital structure means the finance proportion, debt and equity. Number two, candidates, we must have to know debt is a cheaper source of finance. Yes, but why debt is cheaper source? Debt is a cheaper source of finance because of 2 reasons. Because of 2 reasons. Number one, tax advantage. But tax advantage is not the only reason. Debt has a lower required return as compared to equity, because debt has, with viewpoint of investor, debt has low risk. Debt has low risk. Why? Because debt may be secured. Debt is priority in case of business operations, in case of defaults, as compared to equity. First, we earn the PBIT, then first have to pay to the debt holder, low risk. But equity holder return is not fixed. So the point is that debt is cheaper source. Debt is cheaper source of finance because of 2 reasons. Not only tax, but having low required return. Number 2, what is the meaning of value of business? Candidates, what is the meaning of value of business? Candidates, if I say the word machine and you are studying finance, so don't consider the machine in your home like washing machine, like mobile phones, like televisions, like car. These are the machines for household purpose. If you ask your mother, let's say I'm asking that your mother asks you that, your mother in fact discuss that, son or daughter, we need one more car in the house, we need it. So will you reply that, mother, we need to calculate NPV? Eh? Yes or no? Never. We never, we never say that. Calculate the NPV. Definitely, she will slap to you, at least. But on the other hand, if you have a business, go to the office and your storekeeper, your assistant manager discuss with you, sir. Now we need one lorry, one Suzuki, one lorry, one car for transportation carriage purpose. Then what will you reply? Calculate the NPV first. Go and justify it. So the point is that whenever we use the term value in business, it doesn't mean the household things. Value with respect to business. For example, ACCA. What is the value of ACCA with respect to the website? That's the future benefit. For example, Toyota. What is the value of Toyota with respect to the machineries? That is the future benefit. So value of business reflects present value of future operations. Value this means. Number 3, do remember, if the value of business means present value of future cash flows, that means WACC and business have inverse relation. Mathematically, if WACC increases, value of business decreases. If WACC decreases, value of business increases. That is the maths. So WACC and business has inverse relation, no doubt about it. And number 5, value of business has no connection, no concern from where we arrange the source of finance. Value of business has no concern from where we arrange the finance. Has no concern, candidates. That's we have already discussed. Mr. Ali, Mr. Hussain, having same business, having same operations, having same finance. For example, Ali purchased the car 1 million rupees, 1 million rupees, and I have also purchased the car with a 1 million amount. But my source is 100% equity, Ali's source is 50-50. So value means how efficiently we utilize the car, have no concern from where we arrange the finance. That's important. Now, we need to discuss this topic in more detail. And these are the required inputs. Actually, whenever the topic about relationship between capital structure and business or capital structure and WACC, there are two schools of thoughts. Number 1, traditional theory, TT, traditional theory. Number 2, theory. Do remember, traditional theory is always no tax. has two theories, no tax and tax. Examiner will only ask you the theoretical aspect. Number 1, what traditional theory says? Candidates, number 1, traditional theory says that no calculation, only theoretical aspect. Traditional theory says that if the company inject the debts and injecting the debts with respect to WACC. So if the company has a margin, now this is now position. If the company has a margin, what is the meaning of margin? For example, company, this is ABC company. The debt structure is 50%. The debt is 50% and equity 50%. But the industry means average industry, 70% debts and 30% equity. Listen carefully. So that means ABC having a good position. ABC having a good position as compared to industry. And let's suppose this is now situation. And the company has a total finance of $1 million. The company wants that they want to replace the equity with debts. Replace means withdraw the equity and inject the debts. And for example, initially equity up to equity withdraw, that's 40%, and debts increase, that's 60%. So if I say that now position and the company has a margin, so you got the idea. Margin means if the company has a margin to inject the debts. So, and the company have done it. So what will be the impact on WACC? The impact of WACC is that you have withdraw the expensive source, that's key, and inject the cheaper source, affecting overall the WACC become reduced. And if WACC reduce, resulting increase in debts, so that means value of business, that present value future cash flow from now, let's suppose this is now, become increases. So once again, traditional theory says that if a company has a margin to inject the debts and the company initially replace the equity with debts, so initially WACC reduces value up. And if it's continue, for example, the company inject equal to industry, so WACC more reduce because cheaper inject and higher withdraw, and company value increases. But the company moves beyond the margin, beyond the industry. So do remember one point: whenever you inject the debts, cheaper source injected, number one, listen this point carefully, and KE also increases because debt inject, financial risk will increase. Financial risk increases, definitely KE increases. But till now, the positive impact of cheaper source KD overshadow the expensive source KE increment, and overall WACC reduces. So overall, if whenever company inject the debts, so you actually inject the KD and KE increases because it's universal. Whenever you inject the debt, financial risk increases. But overall impact on WACC become what? WACC become decreases. Why? KD, cheaper aspect, advantage, this advantage of cheaper is higher than the K increases. Do remember, initially KD is a cheaper source, is an advantage. KE increases is a disadvantage. But advantage of KD overshadow the disadvantage, and ultimate WACC reduces. So that is the point. Number one, number two. But traditional theory says that this advantage is exhausted at a point. For example, it's become 80% debts. At that point, if you inject more debts, the chances of bankruptcy increases. So advantage of KD lower and disadvantage of KE higher. Impact WACC increases and value decreases. So once again, what traditional theory says? Traditional theory says debts has a relationship with WACC and WACC impact on the value of business. If the company has a margin, to inject debts, initially the advantage of KD overshadow the disadvantage of KE and overall WACC reduces. But there is some optimal point. There are some optimal point. Optimal point where WACC is minimum, but value of business is maximum. Value of business is maximum. This is done. This is what the theory, traditional theory number one. But there is a critic with respect to the traditional theory. There is a critic with respect to the traditional theory. And what is the critic? Candidates, for a moment, recall my example of Mr. Hussain Qazi and Mr. Ali. What we conclude? If we determine the efficiency of Mr. Ali and Mr. Hussain Qazi, efficiency means values of Ali and Hussain. It doesn't matter from where Ali and Hussain arrange the finance. But what's going on in this traditional theory? In this traditional theory, if we change the capital structure, its effect to the value of business. Once again, change KD, change capital structure. Three things: capital structure, WACC, value of business. I'm not talking about WACC and value of business. I'm talking about capital structure and value of business. Candidate, with respect to MCQs, capital structure effect and on business valuation. WACC effect on business valuation. It always has inverse relation. WACC and business valuation, universal, inverse relation. But there are two schools of thoughts with respect to capital structure, business value. Traditional theory says that if capital structure and business valuation having some optimal point, this one is optimal point. They say that if capital structure moves, business valuation change. But on the other hand, what says, theory. Theory. What theory says? Says that, listen carefully, there is no relationship between the capital structure and value of business. Which means if Mr. Ali and Mr. Hussain arrange the finance from anywhere, it will not affect the efficiency of them. Let's take a corporate example. The Unilevers, the Toyota, Microsoft arrange the finance from anywhere. It will not affect the utilization of finance, that's efficiency of the business. That's theory says. And theory drive things, but it's not the part of the syllabus derivation. Theory says that other things remaining same. What I said, other things remaining same. Ignore bankruptcy, ignore imperfection. These are assumptions. If increase the KD, listen careful, increase KD. Definitely, if you inject the debts, KE definitely increases. But the disadvantage of KE and advantage of KD net off, and overall WACC remains same. If the overall WACC remains same, That means business value remains same. No mathematics. Ignore mathematics. Consider the mathematics by AFM. It's not the part of syllabus. What MM theory says? MM theory says that ignore bankruptcy, ignore market imperfections, ignore agency cost. Means agency cost means shareholder has no consent whatever the injection of debts. If you inject the debts, KD increases, that's advantage. KE increases, that's disadvantage. Advantage, disadvantage, netted off, back remain constant. If back constant, business value remains same. That is the capital structure theory. This is what? Traditional theory. Traditional theory by no tax world and argued by MM theory. That's no tax world. That is no tax, huh? One moment. MM, no tax. Then some of the theorists argue the MM, and again MM present another theory. Another theory that's called MM tax world. Do remember, till now, the KD advantage only one. In no tax, only one advantage. And what advantage? What advantage? Only one advantage. That is lower return. That is lower return. Examiner will not ask to draw any diagram. I am just using the diagram to explain this, nothing else. What MM theory says, I'm going to repeat that. MM says that with no tax world, the advantage of injecting KD as a cheaper source, nullify the impact of disadvantage of expensive source KE. So nullify means KD advantage, KE disadvantage. Nullify and WACC remain constant. If WACC constant, business valuation constant. Then another theory, MM tax world. MM tax, what is the MM tax world? What is MM tax world? MM tax world says that if KD increases, do remember, whenever KD increases, KE definitely increases. There is a question, why KE rising? Hafiz Saab, if you are a shareholder, and I am injecting more debts in the business, I am a manager of the company. Will you have any concern? Yes or no? Answer me. What's your concern? That your financial risk become increases. The concern is only one. The financial risk become increases. So whenever, this is universal, whenever you inject debts, shareholder will argue and financial risk increases, K increases. So this is not argument. Mathematically, K will increase. Capital structure change as beta asset, beta equity, all this. So all of the candidates who are listening my session and Hafiz Saab, you ask that why the effect become constant. Do remember, we are not here to discuss about mathematics. It's a complete maths, but it's not the part of syllabus. We can prove with mathematics, and MM have proved that with mathematics, but this is not the part of syllabus. It's just theoretical. So theoretical, what you have to present in the exam, this reflection that the advantage of cheaper source, that is KD, lower return, And disadvantage of KE means higher return, financial risk. Net of overall WACC, flat. No mathematics. But next thing, listen carefully. with tax. What says with tax? Says that if you inject the debts, K increases. Listen carefully. But here, the advantage become two advantages. There are two advantages. What two advantages? Lower return and tax advantage. And tax advantage. Where KE has no tax advantage. So KE has one disadvantage, but KD has two advantage. So this will having two advantage. Instead of constant, it become reduces. And reduces means if WACC reduces, market value of company increases. This is the tax world matter. This is a tax world matter. Now the point is that how the examiner can examine. Listen carefully. Examiner can examine the complete 7 to 8 marks. Like this. This is a question, a past paper question mentioning the relationship between capital structure and value. The capital structure and value. Candidates, do remember one thing. Do remember one thing. present the theory, but having some assumption. For example, no bankruptcy, no agency cost, no tax exhaustion. These other things remaining same, and what are going to prove? Prove only. Is not saying that inject maximum debts. Saying only one thing. Injecting the debts not affect to the value of business. To the value of business. Final wordings. Final wordings. What is the difference between the traditional theory no tax and no tax? Or overall Traditional theory says there is an optimal point. But says no tax or tax, there is no optimal point. Number two, traditional theory says that there is a non-linear relationship between debts, WACC, and value. Non-linear. Non-linear means the movement may be different. Sometimes decrease, sometimes increases. But theory says that linear relationship, either no tax or tax. How the examiner can examine? You can read this point. If examiner asks you with the 8 marks, the relationship between the capital structure, and the WACC and the value of business, you just put these 4 to 5 headings. First, start with the topic introduction. What is the topic about? The topic about the capital structure, and debt is the cheaper source of finance. And this is about the relationship between debts and the value of business. Then explain the traditional theory with wordings. You can make a graph, but I must say that ignore the graph, just type it. Traditional theory. I just refer the graph because before to deliver the lecture. Then no tax, then with tax, and you can criticize the So this is what about the capital structure theory. That's all. Candidates. That's this business finance first 2 parts done. WACC. Number 2, capital structure. Examiner can ask some theoretical part. Question 7. Attempt this question, candidates. Which of the following statement is or not correct? Asset beta reflect both business risk and financial risk. Yes or no? Reply me. Yes or no? No. Why? Asset beta. What I said to you that how to prepare the answers. Asset beta reflect both business financial risk. How to reflect the answers? How to prepare your MCQs? If something is wrong, why it is wrong? Why it is wrong? Ask yourself. Asset beta reflect both business and financial risk. Oh, not the financial risk, only business risk. Total risk is the sum of systematic risk and unsystematic risk. Total risk is the sum of systematic and unsystematic risk. Yes, total risk. Assuming that beta of the debt is 0 will understate the financial risk when ungearing equity beta. No, beta is 0. That will not impact. We will also always consider in FM debt beta is 0, but it doesn't mean that financial risk become understate. Candidates, actually, beta asset is complete formula. Beta asset is equal to beta equity E upon E plus D 1 minus T plus debt beta as well. But in our course, we are assuming that there is no debt beta, no risk in debt. That is 0. If this is 0, this not impact this complete formula because this is a plus sign. Plus 0 means no impact. So here saying that if debt beta is 0, this will understate the financial risk. No impact. This 0 has no impact in this formula. Okay, that's good. Now question 14. Company A shares have a higher beta factor than companies B. Answer. Which of the following is true about A? Companies A's shares have higher beta factor. Number 1, whenever examiner mention only the beta factor, that means beta asset. Only term beta, that means beta factor. Number 1, if the company's A shares higher beta than company's B, that means total risk than company B. The most important thing, if we are talking about beta asset, that means the topic is CAPM. And CAPM only discuss systematic risk, not the total risk. Total risk is equal to systematic risk and unsystematic risk. But here the beta factor only reflects the systematic risk. So this statement is wrong because beta only measures systematic risk. Number 1. So company A has beta factor, company B. So this beta asset reflecting CAPM, and CAPM only consider the systematic risk, not the total risk. Number 2, that's why the statement is wrong. Number 2, it is exposed to more systematic risk factor than company B. More systematic risk factor. Is that the right statement? This is also the wrong statement. This is also the wrong statement. Candidates, do remember one thing. One thing is systematic risk and one thing is systematic risk factor. Two different things. If we say that, for example, for company A shares higher beta factor company B, and it is exposed to a higher level of systematic risk than company B, this is right. But what is the meaning of systematic risk factor? What are the factors of systematic risk? All macroeconomic factors. So do remember one thing. Do remember one thing. In one industry, in one economy, systematic risk factors are same, but affecting to different industry in a different manner. For example, in a Pakistan, what are the systematic risks? For example, fiscal policy, monetary policy, political policies. These three policies affect to the whole industry. But these three factors affecting to whole industry. Factors are same, reflecting in another manner. That's why second statement wrong. Its shares are underpriced. Definitely, share underprice has no relationship between beta factor. Do remember, beta affect to the share price. If listen carefully, if the company risk is higher, it will affect to the share price, right? But it's never possible share price will affect to the beta. No. Share price change, it will not affect to the company's beta. But if stock market shares price change, it will not affect to the company beta. But the statement may be true, can be true if says that beta change and affect to the share price. Okay, that's all. Candidates, now it's time for the another topic, and that is sources of finance. But I will start this topic. I will start this topic after 5 minutes break. So take a break, take a short break. 5 minutes. 5 minutes short break, and spread this. I have a request to all the people: take a responsibility and spread this my message that that make up your direction in a right way to prepare the FM. This is what I'm talking, the right way to understand conceptually the things. Number two, the MCQs matters, all the things. So invite to your colleagues, to your friends as maximum to participate these sessions. Okay, take a break. Thank you. म्यूट म्यूट कर दिया, कहाँ चला गया? everyone. Assalamu alaikum once again. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Candidates, can you reply me about the availability? Can you show me your presence? Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Okay. Now I'm going to start the session once again. And the topic is about in the business finance. First thing we have done, that's cost of capital. Second thing, that's capital structure. Now, the third point that we are going to discuss here, that's about the dynamics of sources of finance. Dynamics for the sources of finance. Candidates, do remember some very important point related to sources of finance. Develop a mindset, develop your mindset accordingly. Number one, if I ask to you that why do we need the finance, you will definitely reply, sir, for the purpose of investment. And why do we need for investment? Definitely to maximize the wealth of, or in fact I can say that provide the return to financiers, and more specifically maximize the wealth of shareholder. Maximize the wealth of shareholder. So very important thing, whenever you are preparing your topic sources of finance and going to attempt the comprehensive question about the sources of finance, you must have to you must have to make up your mind in that manner. Make up your mind in that manner that we need the finance because we need to invest it. And why do we need to invest it? Because to maximize the wealth of shareholder. These things are connected. For example, if there is a question about the company is going to arrange the debt finance, you must determine that. Why? Why? Why company to arrange the finance? Either debt, either equity. There should be some justification. In the corporate world, in a listed company, if I ask question to you, if I am a finance manager, you are a shareholder. If I say to you that, give me the finance by rights issue. And if you ask me why do you want to arrange the finance? And I reply that you just give me the money by rights issue, then I will think what to do with this money, how to invest this money. Will you ever invest? Will you ever purchase the rights issue? If you are a bank and ask to you that, give me the finance by loan, and you, if as a bank you reply me, why do you want, what you will do? I say that you just give me, then I will think about it, um, what to do and how to return to you. You will never. So number one, a simple statement, justification. sources of finance should be justified in terms of investment, and investment means to maximize the wealth of shareholder. So this is the most important thing. Definitely candidates, you know very well, the company having two possibility of source of finance, that is debts and that is equity. Debts short term, that's bank OD. Long term, non-marketable, already discussed, marketable. Equity, internal, external. So what are the aspects to consider here? Huh? Very important things. You need to consider some very important point, some theoretical aspects and a lot of things. Number one, source of finance, equity. Source of finance, equity. Number one, internal source of finance. Internal source of finance. The first important thing, what is the meaning of the internal source of finance? You know very well, internal source of finance means cash part of retained earnings. That is not for business operations, interest, or tax. So actually, the retained earnings, internal source of finance, retained earnings. But you know very well that retained earnings actually equal to the accounting profit, and accounting profit is not based on cash rather than accrual. So internal source of finance means cash part of retained earning, which is not for other purpose, but we can invest. Number two, this belongs to equity shareholder, pure equity shareholder. This is not the free of cost finance. This is not the free of cost finance. This is a very much important finance. This is a very much important finance. That is not free of cost. It's equity holder. The cost is KE. That is cost. Yes, arrangement cost. There is no issuance cost. But if the company use this finance, the company have to pay return to the shareholder. That's KE. What are the plus? What are the plus for this finance? Number one, no issue cost. From this, no chances for the dilution of control. No chances for the dilution of control. And sometimes issuance of shares. So there's a chances of dilution shares. What are the negative point? Chances for loss of dividend. Chances for loss of dividend. That is the shareholder's fear. And loss of some opportunities. The shareholder may be thinking that we will get the dividend and get the and will invest somewhere else. So these are the possible minus. That's internal source. So meaning, plus, minus, all these aspects. But do remember, two things. Number one, two more things. Internal source, that's normally not enough for the long-term purpose. Not enough, and if we want, because the company has not enough funds for the mega investments. Majority of the investments are under rolling or distributed by the dividend. Number one. Number two, this topic is also connected with the dividend policy. And we will discuss the dividend policy on tomorrow with the value of shares, and tomorrow sessions about the dividend policy, that business valuation, and that the risk management as well. We will deal how to handle the risk management in FM. I know that that's a very challenging point for you. There is one question, candidate. There's one question. And what is the question? Which of the following is not an advantage of withholding a dividend as a source of finance? Can you reply me? Can you reply me? Which one? 1, 2, 3, 4 out of what? Which of the following not an advantage of withholding dividend as a source of finance? Not an advantage. Number one, retained profits are a free source of finance. Number one. Number two, investment plan needs less justification. Number three, issue costs are lower. Number four, it is quick. So which one? What is the meaning of this question? Which of the following is not an advantage? That means not advantage means that's disadvantage. Retained profit are a free source of finance. Is this? Think about it very properly. Retained profits are not a free source. It's freely available without issue cost. Not free to use. As I have already told you, its cost, that's K. It's not an advantage. Investment plans need less justification. Issue costs are lower. No issue cost. And this is an advantage, by the way. Not the disadvantage. It is quick. It's advantage. Investment plan need less justification. Yes, it's also advantage. So not an advantage, an advantage. So these three are advantage. And this is not an advantage. Not an advantage. It out of the, if you are thinking that it's not an advantage means disadvantage, no. Examiner is asking which is out of the race. Number one, it is quick. It's an advantage. So that means it is not out of the race. Issue costs are lower. That is advantage. It's not out of the race. Investment plan needs less justification. Yes, it's an advantage. But first one is totally out of the race. Hafiz Saab, Hafiz Mubashir, if you are a shareholder and your company has a retained earning and I am a manager, can I use your retained earning profits without any return, without any providing the return to you? Of course not. That means internal source of finance has a cost, that is K. It's not free of cost, but the arrangement. What are you saying, Hafiz Saab? What are you saying? If you are the shareholder of the company and there are some retained earning, you are saying that this is not mine. What are you saying that? What is the meaning of retained earning? Retained earning means the profit element of the shareholder, the profit part of the shareholder which is not distributed. Not distributed means it belongs to shareholder. Correct your concept. Company retain it, but it doesn't mean it not belongs to shareholder. Okay, leave that point. You can ask me after the session, Officer. Correct your concept, please. So, number one, retained earning belongs to shareholder. Number one. Number two, it's freely available in the context that having no issue cost. No means we can arrange it without putting any cost. But it doesn't mean it's freely. It's not. It's free. It's without any cost in paying the cost. So anyways, retained profits are free source of finance. No, it's not free. We have to pay the cost. Do remember, whenever company arrange the finance, every finance has a cost. Debts, KD, equity, K. Internal or external, have to pay the equity holder cost of equity. That's all. Move on. Number one, first part of the source of finance, that is equity finance. Number two, second part of source of finance, that is equity source of finance, and that is external. That's internal, and that's I'm talking about external. I'm talking about external. So candidates, number one, if we are talking about or discussing about the stock market, if we are talking about the term stock market, so number one, the listed company can issue their shares on the stock market, but the company, whenever entering to the stock market, what are the benefits? What are the benefits? The benefits are, number one, wider pool of finance. Pool of finance become wider. What are the benefits? As compared to private limited company, partnership and individual owner, marketability of shares. The shares become Realize you can sell the shares without any continuation of, without any impact on the continuation of business. Public image become better. Shareholders can sell their shares. Normally, partners or private limited companies sell the shares. The company become dissolved. But here the case, the company continued. Benefit, stock market, if become listed, debts can also public, like bonds, debentures. No, claim capital allowance, it's a wrong thing. Even you are stock market listed or not, you can claim the capital allowance always. These are the benefits. But the challenge, I must not say the disadvantage. The challenge the company facing a become listed, that is the regulations. More regulations like implement compulsory IFRS, company ordinance, and so on. Accountability. Other cost like underwriting fees. If you wanted to sell the share and you are not able to sell the shares, then you have to appoint the underwriters. These are the challenges. So these are the points. One more thing I wanted to share thing, and that is, what are the methods, and you must have to refer the book as well, to become listed on a stock market. One of the method, that is IPO, that is only invite to open public by offering the um, application and then balloting and then subscribe, initial public offer. One thing is placing. One thing is placing offer to investors, not to open public. A company can manage, make a combination, some IPO, some placing. Placing is less time consuming. IPO is a long process and maybe cheaper because no need for underwriting. Quicker. So examiner can ask you, what are the advantage of placing over IPO? Must refer the book. And introduction. Only introduced in the stock market, but not open for trading. So this is not, this is also possible, not marketable. So only introduction, what's the benefit? The only introduced can get the complete benefit, public image and all these things. These are the aspects. Now, in the sources of finance, a very much important topic, a very, very much important topic you have to consider here. Candidates, that's about rights issue, equity source of finance, rights issue. Candidates, listen this topic very carefully. And if all of you people are hearing my voice very clearly, very precisely, do remember one thing. Once again, I'm saying that take a responsibility, refer to your colleagues about these sessions. Today's And tomorrow's session is very much important because I will discuss business valuation and the risk management. Spread my words as maximum as possible. I will discuss the things with examiner marking. What are the challenges you are facing? And you made mistakes, identified mistakes. You have to spread my message to take uh, tomorrow's session live and uh, ask any question. Risk management, business valuation, and the combinations. And the day after tomorrow, that's working capital and financial markets, all these things. So spread these words as max as possible. Thank you. Okay, candidates, now that is about the rights issue. Rights issue. Number one, what is the meaning of the rights issue? Rights issue means if the company needs a finance and decided that arrangement of the finance through the debts rather than equity. I'm sorry, through equity rather than debts. And equity arranged through external through issuance of shares. So company ordinance, a compliance says that company ordinance compliance says that the company must have to offer first have to offer to the existing shareholder, but not just to offer, but not just to offer, but also, but not just to offer, but also uh, discounted price, also offering the discount. So that is called preemptive rights. So offering the shares to the existing shareholder in with respect to the compliance, that is called the rights issue. But before starting the rights issue matter, first important thing, you people agree that rights issue is a source of finance. So number one, first of all, before entering this topic, you have to clear that first the company have to consider why do we need finance. For example, the company wanted to finance to repay the loan. For example, the company wanted to take the finance to expand the business operation. Maybe possible diversification, maybe possible acquisition of the business. So first of all, the company has a plan for investment. That is called need of finance. And based on that arrangement, need of finance, the company decided to arrange through the rights issue. So rights issue or any of the source of finance must be justified for what purpose the finance is needed. For what purpose I can get, for what purpose I'm getting the finance. So number one, why the finance need, this is important. If there's a complete case, you have to consider this point very important. Number two, then you have to determine, for example, the company needs finance $100,000. The company needs finance for $100,000. Now move towards the rights issue. Move towards the rights issue. Num the most important points about the rights issue. The most important points about the rights issue. First of all, let's suppose today is 1st January 2019. And right now, listen carefully. Right now, you have a market value of share $12. And you offer to the public with the exercise price $8. So number one thing, we are standing at the announcement date. And what are the important points considering this rights issue? Considering this rights issue price. This is rights issue price, exercise price. What are the important points about this exercise price? That should be less than market value, but more than par value. For example, par value $1. For example, par value $1. Less than market value, increase par value. So relevant point for exercise price. So the company can offer the exercise price any price below the market value, but not below the par value. That must be $1. This is rule of thumb. This is law. But another important point. But do remember, company must have to make sorry, the company must have to make effort, not excessive, not provide too much discount, not providing discount to dilute the EPS. So three important things need to consider when deciding the rights issue price. Less than market value, more than par value, and don't provide excessive discount to dilute the EPS. To dilute the EPS. Number one. Okay, that's important. Once again, company need $100,000. Company needs $100,000. And for example, the company offer rights issue with 1 for 4. Means the shareholder having 4 shares can get one rights issue. And the company, let's say, having 10,000 number of shares right now. So if the company wants to offer the shares and get the money 100,000, so actually the company wants to offer 12,500 shares. So number one, the ignore for the time being the number of shares. 1 for 4. One moment, please. Company existing number of shares, for example, 50,000. The company having a shares now before the rights issue, 50,000. Okay, now move on. So with respect to the announcement, less than market value, greater than par value, discounting offer, but not excessive discount. That's avoiding the excessive dilution. Okay, another thing. And the company offered this aspect for 2 months. For example, the final date 1st March 2019. So once again, the company having 50,000 shares, the company offer 1 for 4 rights issue, the company need 1 lakh finance. Now the company shares $12. Company offer the exercise price $8. So all of you are with me, huh? All of you are with me. Move on. First stage is this. Second stage, during this time period, the timing called intervening time. What called? Intervening time. The second discussion is this: how the share price will move during this time period, and what will happen at that third date after 2 months when actual rights offer. Candidates, very much important, some theoretical aspect. Whenever company announce the rights issue, so what the picture portray in the stock market? In the stock market, the picture portray the $12 share offering by the company $8 discount. And you have 2 months time. Do remember, 2 months means you have only chance to access by this date, not during the period, only at that date. At this date, you have a time to think for 2 months. Whenever the company announce the rights issue, some observation mentioned in the books. And what are the observations? Observations that this share price become temporarily down. What I term use? Temporarily down. TD, temporarily down. Why temporarily down? Temporarily down because the company announced the rights issue immediately, but simultaneously the company will not or normally not provide the exact investment plans, that why we are arranging the finance. I repeat, the company announced the rights issue, that means to get the finance at the discounted price, but not simultaneously for 100% investment plan for some strategic reason. So that creates some uncertainty in the market. What uncertainty? Why the company are getting the finance, and the share price discounted offer. The worth of the price 12 but offering 8. Uncertainty, price depression. This is temporary down. But as the times goes on, these moves, the things are settled. As the times goes on, the company provides the information to the market through the media, through the um, newspaper, the business forums. That certainty created, and over the period of time, at this point, let's say the actual share price become $10. Exercise price maintain $8. Number one, when we reach at this point, what point? Actual rights issue. The actual price must be higher than exercise price, otherwise shareholder will not exercise. Shareholder will not exercise. So examiner can ask you during this intervening time period, temporarily decline because of uncertainty. Because of uncertainty. As the time's up, certainty cover and the price moves on. Candidates, important point. Before 1st January 2019, before this point, the price, we will say, whatever the price before that, that is cum rights. And that is $10. $10. This price, before the rights issue, this price, that is cumulative rights. For example, 1st March 2019, 9 a.m., the rights issue become exercised. Before exercising the rights issue, the terminology we call cumulative rights. But as the rights open, the price become called. Do you know what called? Theoretical X right price. TERP. TERP means excluding rights. Previously come rights. That is theoretical rights, exercise price. And how to calculate theoretical X right price? We calculate in this manner. Number one, the company having 4 shares with the price immediately before the rights. Immediately before the rights. Immediate before 10. Immediate before is not 12. Immediate before is 10. 4 shares at the rate $10. One more share, the company will get 8. So 5 shares, $18. Sorry. 4 shares, 40. That is 8, 48. TRP is equal to 48 divided by 5. That's equals to 9.6. 9.6. So, important point. Number one, exercise price. That's discounted price offered to the shareholder. Number two, market value of share announcement date. Irrelevant. Market value of share immediate before the rights issue. That is relevant. 10. Theoretical X right price. That is 9.6. That is 9.6. But do remember, this is the terminology called theoretical right price. Theoretical X right price. The most important thing. Theoretical X right price. Another important point. Another important point. Very important point. Actual rights issue date. Candidates, listen this statement very carefully. Actual rights issue date. If the price was 10, market value immediately before the rights issue, and it's become 9.6, that's become TRP. Do remember important point. This is TRP. TRP means theoretical price. What will actual or practically happen? That is a different matter. That is a different matter. You must have to make up your mind in this manner. If you are the existing shareholder, listen here. If you are the existing shareholder, and if you are considering that if I exercise the price at this date, the share price become 9.6. Do remember, if practically the price become equal to TRP, what I say with respect to MCQs, actual share price equal to TRP, no effect on shareholders' wealth. Actual share price greater than TRP. That means shareholder wealth become increases. Actual share price less than TRP, shareholder wealth become decrease. Listen carefully. Whenever there is a question to evaluate the shareholder wealth, this is the common question. For God's sake, try to understand. Whenever examiner asking you to evaluate the shareholder wealth, do remember the most important thing. You have to compare the shareholder wealth with TRP, actual share price TRP. Not in any case market value of share before rights issue. No. Shareholders wealth will be evaluated based on TRP. So two things. Number one, once the price equal to TRP, no effect on wealth of shareholder. Number one, why? Candidates, if you are shareholder, price become equal to TRP. So listen carefully. Here my case. You are the shareholder 1 for 4. So what will happen here? You will get 4 shares. Sorry. You will get 1 share with $2. What is the benefit? Benefit of $2. And if the price become 9.6, what you have lost? 10 minus 9.6 is equal to 0.4. Multiply by 5 shares. That is $2. What I said to you, if the price equal to TRP, no effect on shareholder wealth. Because one benefit of discount, other lost of share decline. Effect nil. So number one, if actual share price become TRP, no effect on shareholder wealth. Number one. Number two, do remember, now the comparison will be made with the TRP, not the actual share price. This is the important thing. This one is the most important thing. Now, furthermore, one more thing before starting a very comprehensive question. Now listen carefully, candidates, listen carefully. The most important thing you have to consider here. Candidates, all of the FM subject is future oriented. All of the subject is future oriented. This is future oriented subject planning. What do you think? Right now we are discussing whatever the thing that's actually happening. No, actual rights issue arises. No, not at all. We are not discussing here that actual rights issue happened. This is all analysis. Sir, what does that mean? Yes, we are here to discuss that. What if, listen carefully. Let's suppose you are consultant, you are advisor, and I am taking advice from you. What advice? Consultant, Mr. Ali, Mr. Mubashir, Mr. Nasir, Mr. Shahrukh, Mr. John, Mr. Ritar, you are consultants. I am a person having a shares and my company announce a rights issue. Are you with me? You are consultant. I am a shareholder. My company announce a rights issue and I am here to meet with you to take an advice. What advice? I want to take an advice that the company said that give me the money as a rights issue. Should I invest with the rights issue? With the exercise price? You, as an advisor, as a finance manager, working on behalf of me, that what the company will do with rights issue exercise price means what the company will do with this finance. The company will do finance with respect to invest. The company, you have to evaluate that. Mr. Shareholder, I will evaluate. One moment, please. Okay, once again, you as a consultant, me, shareholder, and I am taking advice from you. So you are working on behalf of me. What if I'm going to invest the money for the investment? If I'm going to invest the money, I'm going to invest the money. So will my wealth will enhance? If my wealth will enhance, means as a shareholder, then you advise me go and exercise the price. Go and exercise the price. So for this, how a consultant, how finance manager think? Finance manager will think that if exercise price happens, listen here. So one thing is TRP. And what will be the expected, listen here, expected share price? You as a consultant will analyze the share price by P ratio, by dividend valuation, whatever. For example, TRP 9.6, but the expected share price based on analysis $10 $10.6. So there is a capital gain of $1. And let's say this will happen after 1 year. This will happen after 1 year. Means I will invest and the company share price will increase in 1 year. And the company will also provide dividend of $0.5. So that means the shareholder wealth will increase by 1.5. This is the most important thing we need to consider. Now, before starting the question, there's a question with you. Why the company, why why shareholder buy the shares of the company? Answer me. Why why we as a shareholder buy the shares of the company? Why? Rachel, why we purchase the shares? Hafiz Saab, Wasim, why a shareholder purchase the shares? Because of two reasons. Because of return, and return having two reasons. Number one, capital gain. Number two, dividend. Number one, capital gain. Number two, dividend. And shareholder wealth will increase based on capital gain and dividends. And this one is this. Two things, capital gain and dividend. And this is what, there is a ratio called TSR. TSR stands for total shareholder return. Total shareholder return will get by the comparison with TRP and expected share price plus dividend. The first assignment is this: you have to put all these data in these two sheets, whatever you have observed. Candidates, this one is the question. Very important question. Candidates, read this question. Very, very important question. Dartic. Very, very important question, the Dartic. Don't think just in a manner to calculate a TRP. No. Make up your mind what we are doing here with respect to this question. Yes. Number one, very important question for exam purpose as well. Dartic is a stock market listed company that manufacture computer product plan to expand its business operations, existing business. The investment costs 5 million. So why do we need to invest? Why we are arranging the finance? Because for expansion of the business. Well met by 144 rights issue. So number one, the company has an investment plan to expand the business. Number two, for this, arranging the finance by rights issue. So source of finance must be justified. So here justified. 144 rights issue is justified for the expansion of business. Current share price $2.5. Rights issue price 20% discount to this. So what will be the price? 20%. 2.5 into 80, that is 2. Rights issue price $2. Finance, listen to this statement. Finance director Dartic expect to expansion of existing business. Allow the average growth rate of the EPS over the last 4 years to be maintained into the foreseeable future. Why you are shareholder, you are of Dartic, I'm management. I'm asking you, sorry, you are shareholder, I'm finance manager. You are asking me why you are arranging the finance. What will happen? I will say that we have been growing since last 4 years. So we wanted to continue this growth. Our capacity become hold. We are up to maximum capacity, 100%. If we wanted to continue the growth, we want to expand the machines. For that reason, we need $5 million. And for this, we have decided to arrange the finance, not debts, not internal equity, but external rights issue. But you as a shareholder must have to evaluate whether to invest in this manner or not, to invest in this point or not. This is the history over last 4 years. That is EPS and DPS. Can you reply me? What is the growth rate of EPS and DPS over the last 4 years? What is the EPS and DPS over the last 4 years? You can calculate it. For example, EPS growth is equal to 32.4 divided by 22.7. One over 4, 32.4 divided by 27.7 with the growth rate, that's almost 4%. And same for, if you calculate for the DPS, it's almost 4%. That is 15 over 12.8, 4%. Okay. The investor cost of equity, that's expected return 10%. P ratio of Dartic has been approximately constant recent year. P ratio. Can you calculate the P ratio here? PE, market value of share divided by earning per share. Market value 2.5 divided by current EPS 32.4. That is 7.7. 7.7 times. Now the requirement. We will discuss this point later. Number one, calculate the theoretical exercise price to invest in the proposed business expansion, TRP. B, calculate the expected share price following the proposed business expansion using the PE ratio. Number one, calculate TARP and what is the expected share price proposed business expansion. And discuss the most important part where you people stuck, where examiner complained. Discuss whether proposed business expansion is acceptable use of finance raised by rights issue and evaluate the expected effect on wealth of shareholder of Dartic company. Candidates number one, the very basic. A, the TRP. Yes, please make it quick. What about the TRP? It's very simple. Exercise price $2.5 into 80%, that is $2. And 4 shares into 2.5, one more share into 2, that is 12 divided by 5, and that's become 2.4. Number one. Number two says that what is the expected share price following the proposed business expansion using PE ratio. Following the business expansion, expected share price following expansion. The use term following, examiner particular mentioned this, that in this attempt that student have ignored the term following expansion. By PE, number one, PE, share price. If we wanted to calculate the value of share by PE, so PE is equal to market value of share divided by earning per share. And if we calculate the market value of share, so EPS is equal to EPS multiplied by PE. Number one, PE we have already calculated right now, because in question it's mentioned that in the question approximately constant in the recent years. So P is 7.7 times. P is 7.7 times. But what about the EPS? EPS should be following expansion. Following expansion means the EPS should be 1 plus 4% growth. Because why we are investing? Being as an investor, I will think that if I put the money in this business, the EPS will still grow. The cycle will run. That cycle will continue. So what is the now EPS? That is 0.324. 0.324 into 1.04. 0.324 into 1.04, that is 0.34. So the market value of share become 7.7 times into 0.34 is equal to that is 2.6. 2.62. 2.62. Candidates, are you people with me? Are you people with me? That's good. Expected share price. Now, the third very important point of the question. The third very important point. Listen carefully. The third very important point. Here mentioned that C part, discuss whether the proposed business expansion are acceptable use of finance raised by the rights issue. And candidates never ignore the term and. Evaluate expected wealth of the shareholder data, expected effect on the wealth of shareholder. 6 marks having two components, before and after and. Before and, what examiner asks, proposed business expansion is acceptable. What we will write? We will write the answer. The proposed business expansion will acceptable if the rights issue funds increases the wealth of shareholder. Number one, this can be evaluated. This can be evaluated to calculate the capital gain and dividend projection and compare with required shareholders required return. And how this will happen. How this will happen. Candidates, This will happen accordingly. Now the evaluation. If examiner told you, number one, first thing examiner ask you, listen here, discuss. You just first discuss. This you have done previously. This is discussion. You just mention, yes, I am discussion. If clarity of the answer. And this one, evaluation. Simple. What the evaluation? TERP, you must compare TERP 2.4 with expected share price, and that is 2.62. Capital gain reflecting, that is 0.2. Dividend projected. Can you reply me dividend? If now the dividend, now dividend is 15, this one 15, and growth by 4%, 0.15 multiply by 1 plus 4% is equal to 0.156 or 0.16. Wealth increase by 0.2 plus 0.16, 0.12, 0.16, sorry, 0.2, 0.16, that is equal to 0.36 per share. Candidates, are you getting the point? 0.16, and in fact, you can work out accordingly. This is 0.16 and 0.16 divided by 2.14. 0.16 divided by 2.4. Sorry, 0.36. 0.36 divided by 2.4. That's equals to 15%. And then this compare with the company's K. K means equity holder required return. Equity holder required return 10%. K 10%. This is higher than 10%. This is higher than 10%. So if we are going to invest in this company's rights issue, shareholder wealth, it's not just increase, that's 0.36, but it's more than the K, investor required return. Investor required return. So this is what the acceptable solution. That is the point. That is the way you have to write the answer. FM is not just for the working of calculation with a theoretical background. Okay, candidates, this is what done with the rights issue aspect. One very important point. I hope all of you people are with me. That's good. That's good. Candidate, this is another question to calculate the TSR. And this is your homework. You have to put it. You have to work it. Homework. It's very simple. You must work it on reply me on the WhatsApp. It's a simple basic question. Examiner can ask you about the TSR on the MCQs as well. And it's already happened. Candidates, some more important thing. That is about debt finance. Candidates, important thing. That is about debt finance. Sources of finance, that's equals to debts. Whatever we have discussed till now, that is about equity finance. That is about equity finance. Now the turn about the debt finance. The company can issue the debt financing. The first debt financing matter, that is short-term bank overdraft. What is the meaning of bank overdraft? The meaning of bank overdraft, bank allow customer, means client, to withdraw more amount from current account with a set amount and timings. That's overdraft. You know very well, this is a short-dated, short-term matter. What are the benefits about this? Number one, this is flexible as compared to loan. If you get the 5 years loan, you need it or not, you have to pay interest. But short bank overdraft, it's flexible. When you need it, take the loan and pay the interest, otherwise not. Flexible interest payment if bank OD required. Although per annum, bank OD is a customized loan. Per annum rate may be higher than long term. But reason of flexibility, interest cost over the period become reduced. Interest cost. Per annum cost, sorry, percentage may be higher, but due to the reason of flexibility, maybe the interest cost become reduced. Drawbacks. Percentage of interest is higher. It's a drawback, customized nature. With respect, long-term loan, it's a peace of mind. Peace of mind. In term of Urdu in Pakistan, that's sood, riba. So any of the interest, never get the peace of mind. Just leave it. Long-term loan is a peace of mind. For example, if took up a loan of 10 years, bank will not knock you until 10 years, except the condition of covenants. Otherwise, bank will not irritate or will not knock you. But their bank OD is a continuous pressure on the management, because there's a limit of the bank OD and the bank may demand on it. That's why the drawback. So simple drawbacks, you can work out accordingly. That's another point. Debt financing, long-term debts, bank loans, marketable, that is debentures, redeemable, irredeemable, convertible. We will discuss convertible tomorrow. Convertible bonds is also option. Deep discount bonds, zero coupon bonds. You can refer the book, but have to read it. Yes, this is the very important point. We are here to discuss about debts. Source of finance. So for example, you are a part of meeting, you are a finance manager, and your management has decided that we need to invest some amount for expansion or machineries like this. But now we are going to decide to arrange the finance, either equity or debts. So whenever we are working or we are focusing on debt finance, debts as a choice, what factor we need to consider? Examiner can ask what factors. Number one, availability. For example, if you wanted to issue the bond to the public, it's only available for the listed company, not the private company. Smaller, for example, you are a small company. Your availability of the bank loan is very limited. So availability is very much important. Number two, your credit rating. Large companies having large volume of business having a stronger credit ratings, but smaller companies having lower credit rating. Even large companies, if they have a past experience of not the payment of debts or interest on the time, the credit rating may be deteriorated. And in the listed company, um, if we are going to issue the bonds, we have to audit our credit rating by agencies like Moody's and like this, and mention the AAA ratings and a lot of things. Important thing, that's either fixed or floating. And that is called security. Do you have enough security? If the bank asks to provide a security, either fixed or floating. Fixed security means you have a fixed assets and specific. You take up a loan and securitize your building, specific building, that's fixed. Floating, for example, running um, assets, inventory, investment in shares, that's floating. So security is important and availability of security is also important. Duration, for how much duration you wanted to take loan. Duration, normally return of investment and duration should be matched. For example, if you have a plan to invest in a business where the constant return over the 5 years, so that means 5 years you can easily pay your loan over the period of time and interest. That's duration. Some of the investment like this, for example, if you invest for the construction of building for, and the construction will complete by 10 years, so actually you will return, for example, you will get return delayed at the end of the last 2 years. So that means your return angles are very different. Investment returns are different. So duration and returns of investment should be matched. Duration means the purpose of getting the loan, that is investment, and repayment of loan arrangement, that is duration, should be matched. Candidates, one more thing examiner can ask you. Examiner can ask you, what are the factor affecting the choice between debt and equity? Means not only consider debt, you are here to discuss the point either debt or either equity. That is also your homework. 5 points. You must have to refer what 5 points we are going to decide, either debt or either equity. For example, comparison of debt and equity. With respect to debt, financial risk increases and equity holder demand more. If you issue the equity, the chances of dilution of earning per share, because dilution of control, dilution of earning per share. So what are the factors for debt equity? 5 points. Candidates, very important. Another important point. Before the break, we have discussed one point, and after the break, another point, source of finance. Now connect the capital structure matter with the source of finance. You know very well that the company wanted to arrange the finance that should be justified. If we need the finance, for example, if we need $2 million finance, that should be justified. Why? Like the doctor question. Number two, if we arrange the finance, either debt or either equity, it will not affect to the value of the business. It will not affect to the value of business. And through the income statement, mark my word, through the income statement, the value of business actually, the value of business actually, the value of business actually connecting with in income statement, value of business connecting PBIT, connecting with the PBIT. That's a very important point. That's a PBIT. What I'm trying to say that, for example, I have a plan to launch a project. I have a plan to launch another product in the business. I have already one business. I wanted to introduce one more business, one more product. And I have a projection that I will generate the sales. For the sake of sales, incurring some cost, operating cost. And that's basis I will generate some PBIT. So candidates, PBIT will generate one thing. Now the second question, from where we will arrange the finance? We required $2 million. Either $2 million arranged from debts, either $2 million arranged from equity. It will same affect to the PBIT. Are you getting the point I'm saying? Either I will arrange the money amount from debt or equity. PBIT remain same effect. Now, this point we'll consider here. Read the question once. March, June 18, a question, very important question, that is 10. March, June 18. Read this question. This will be the last question of today's session. Candidates, for tomorrow, you must have to be there. Business valuation, risk management, the two critical, specifically for section B questions and section A as well. Business valuation, risk management. And you have to communicate your colleagues as much as possible. My message that must have to take at least for tomorrow's session. Very key exam point we will cover. Very complaints from the examiner about the tomorrow's topic. You have to, it's your responsibility to spread this message as much as possible to all of the relevant candidates. The maximum benefit the candidates can get, the more better the results will be. Yes, candidates, this is the question. 10 companies planning to expand business operation, which will increase profit before interest and tax by 20%. PBIT increased by 20%. Companies considering whether to use equity or debt finance to raise 2 million needed by the bank business expansion. If equity finance use 1 for 5 rights issue will be offered to existing shareholder, 20% discount to current ex-dividend share price, $5 per share. Nominal value of ordinary share is $1 per share. If debt finance use 20,000, 8% loan notes will nominal value of $100 per loan note. Two things. We need finance 2 million. Source of finance, either equity, either debts. From where? From wherever we arrange the finance, irrespectively equity or debts, the PBIT will increase by 20% at any cost. No, no change on that basis. That will definitely affect. Number 2, financial statement prior to new finance. Prior to new finance means now. This is company now situation, not projected. PBIT, finance cost, taxation, profit after tax, equity, ordinary share, retained earning, long-term loan, total equity and liability. Current PE ratio 12.5 times, corporate tax 22%. Companies undertake the same business as 10 company have an average debt over equity covered by book value 60.5%, average interest cover 9 times. Calculate TERP. Assuming equity finance is used, calculate revised EPS business expansion. Assuming debt finance use, calculate revised EPS after business expansion. Calculate revised share price under both financing method business expansion. And definitely using the PE ratio. Use the calculation to evaluate whether equity or debt finance should be used the planned business expansion. 4 marks. Islamic financing 6 marks. 20 marks question, 6 marks theory. And use calculation whether to equity debts. That's discussion. Almost 10 marks theory. Number 1, TERP, the most simplest part of the question. Calculate the TERP quickly. TERP. Very simple. Current share price 5 and offering exercise price 20% to that is 4. 29 divided by 6, that is 4.83. It's very simple, 4.83. 2 marks done. Assuming equity finance, calculate the revised earning per share. Debt finance, revised earning per share. Before attempting a question, plan your mind. We have to calculate revised EPS. In both cases, how to calculate the revised EPS? Revised means projected EPS. How to calculate EPS? Profit after tax projected. And number of shares projected. So we need to profit after tax. So make the income statement 1 year after income statement. 1 year after income statement. That is what? Number 1, projected performance by debt finance, equity finance. Number 1, PBIT. That's PBIT definitely increase with the percentage. How much percentage increases? 20% up. It's mentioned on the question. 20% up. Yes. If profit 20% up, 1597 into 1.2, 1916. Make it quick here. Interest cost. Okay. Important. Irrespectively, debt finance, equity finance, PBIT will increase in the same manner. That means business valuation. Interest cost. Equities finance, same. Same means previous one. Previous one, finance cost 315. But interest cost, debt finance, that means 20 million. Sorry, 2 million by 8%. So 2 million, 8%, 160 plus 315. That's equals to 475. I hope all of you are with me. Profit before tax, that is 1601, 1441. All of you are with me? Yes. Now taxation 22%. That is 352 value. Another point of the taxation calculate, that is 317. Profit after tax 1249 and 1124. Okay, that is the revise. Profit after tax revise. Number of shares, candidates, number of shares. What will be the number of shares? In the case of debts, no change in the number of shares. So, what was the number of shares? 2500 and par value? Par value 1. So, that's equals to same 2500 in case of debts. Here increases 2 million divided by number of shares 500 divided by 4, that is 500. So that's equals to 3000. What the earning per share? 1249 divided by 2500, that is 0.1249 divided by 1601 minus 352. Sorry, this figure by mistake, that is 1441 here. I'm sorry. 144 and 1601. 1441. Oh, my apologies. Debt finance, that is 317 and 1124. And the tax rate 1601 352 1249. Yes. 1124 divided by 2500. 0.45. Yes, candidate, 0.45 and 1249 divided by 3000, that is 0.42. Yes, candidate, this is what the revised earning per share. And if we need to calculate revised share price by PE ratio, so PE ratio remain constant In this case, 12.5 times, 12.5 times. So revised share price 0.45 into 12.5, 5.6, 3.42 into 12.5, 5.25. Yes, candidates, this is what the point that we have calculated the TRP revised equity EPS. Now, candidates, one very important thing you have to consider this. Listen here. If the company use the debt finance or equity finance, there is no change with respect to PBIT. Listen here, no change. But change with respect to EPS. Change with respect to EPS. Listen carefully what I'm saying. Last words. Debt finance, increase finance cost. 5 minutes. Equity finance, increase number of shares. Tell me one thing. Finance cost is a negative factor with respect to shareholder increase in financial risk. Yes or no? And denominator of number of shares increasing create the dilution of earning per share. Yes or no? That's good. Now, candidates, we need to sacrifice, but choose one. We need to sacrifice, but choose one. One, if we inject the debt finance or equity finance, the decision factor is not PBIT, but the decision factor is this. If we arrange the debt finance, our EPS is higher, but equity finance, our EPS is lower. It means, do you agree? Higher the debts means higher the financial risk. If higher the debts, higher the financial risk, higher the risk, higher the return. If we arrange the finance through equity, then lower risk. Lower risk means lower return. So that is what the discussion part as well. Due to the limitation of time, it's not possible to work out this. Point number 5, you have to cover what examiner says. Use calculation, evaluate equity or debts. Use calculation, evaluate equity or debts. So you must have to consider this point. Evaluate considering these things. Listen carefully. You have to work out accordingly. Gearing what is now and what is gearing in case of debts finance means projected. And in case of debt finance, in case of equity finance, Gearing with respect to debts with reference to equity finance. Compare with now, compare with industry. Same case, interest cover, debt, equity. What will be the interest cover if debt financing, if equity finance? Compare with now, compare with industry. This portion reflecting risk and this portion reflecting return. EPS, debt, equity. Change in share price, debt, equity. That is capital gain. Then you will complete to evaluate. Higher the risk, higher the return, lower the risk, lower the return. Candidates, this is another assignment. You have to do it and you can check. If you wanted to get the solution of these answers, ask me on the WhatsApp group. Number one. Number two, tomorrow will be the day. Tomorrow will be the day for day 4 will be business valuation, including financial markets. I will try my best about the financial markets and risk management, specifically calculation and theory. So spread my words as much as possible to join the session on tomorrow. Spread my words to join the must join the sessions tomorrow. If you really getting the values from this session, you're really getting values this session, and you wanted to really pay for this to ACCA, spread the word for tomorrow's and day after tomorrow's sessions and my videos accordingly, because all these wordings I'm saying to you, that's reflecting the examiner reflections. Thank you very much, candidates. Jazakallah khair and Allah Hafiz from my side. Goodbye. Take care a lot. You can communicate with me on the WhatsApp group as well. Allah Hafiz. And I really appreciate all of you to fill the feedback form and also reply the feedback on my WhatsApp group. Please reply on my WhatsApp group as well. Thank you very much. Try to develop a constructive reply. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.